I believe some of the neighbours said that there were 6 to 8 people living in it. There were lots of holes in the walls. The shower wasn't working anymore. Shower was leaking. Yeah, there was who knows what splattered on the walls. The carpets were all pulled up. It was just on concrete. This is why we got it so cheap. Yeah, no, it was gross.
Welcome to Slice, property made possible. We're a platform on a mission to reduce barriers to home ownership. This podcast is a safe space for our community to learn together and build the confidence required to start on their property journey. When you're ready to start, head along to slicetobuy.com and sign up for your free dashboard.
Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Slice Your Property podcast. Today we're joined by Jennifer and we are going to hear all about her first home journey. Hello, Jennifer.
Hi.
So you bought in, was it March last year?
Yes.
Yes, so about a year ago, just as interest rates were rising. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit more about your experience.
Well, I was actually home quite a bit because I had a injury, so I was home on ACC, and I had a couple of hours a day where I just sit there scrolling through houses as I usually do. I'm in the architecture space, so I love looking at houses, looking at their floor plans. And then I was like, you know what, let's see if I can buy. I reached out to a mortgage broker, just Googled first one that popped up, told them what we had. They told us what we could afford, which was laughable, to be honest. And then I was like, okay, so I just started popping that number in on real estate agent pages, and 2 or 3 listings would be there.
Yeah.
And then one popped up one day that I saw, and I was like, this doesn't seem awful. It's a 1-bedroom, it's a standalone house, which we were looking for. And my partner's a car guy, so we needed parking, which isn't really easy with our tiny budget. They said we could maybe have 600K or 500K.
Yeah.
And we put down an offer of 495. And, well,
We're
got
successful.
Accepted. Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, they had an offer in also before. We just threw one in.
Yeah.
And then that one fell through. And then,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's don't give up hope. It's not over till it's over.
Yeah.
And that's great. I mean, I think what's exciting about that is to say that, you didn't have the biggest budget in the world, but you were still able to buy and get that step on the ladder.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned previously that your partner didn't really think you'd be able to buy at all.
No.
Yeah.
No. He thought it was laughable because pretty much since we started dating, I was always wanting to own my own home. Like, I just feel like it's your place, and being someone who's immigrated and whatever, like, a sense of your space it's important to me. And he was like, no, we'll never be able to afford to buy. And a lot of people around him also had the same
mindset.
Yeah. But honestly, we didn't even have a big deposit. A lot of it was KiwiSaver and Kainga Ora.
Yeah.
Their
First home buyer's grant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you get, I think it's like 10K.
We didn't get it full.
Didn't get the full amount?
He did. I didn't qualify.
Okay.
Because I studied and then I worked part-time jobs until I got a full-time job. So I've only been working full-time for about 3 years now.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
But you got a portion of that.
Yeah.
Every bit helps though.
It does. It really does.
And so can you tell us a little bit about, you mentioned you're a migrant as well. Can you tell us a bit about what that experience has been for you?
Interesting, because I think I moved here when a few South Africans were moving to New Zealand. I was 10 years old, but no one really knew about South Africa, or just like, it's just, you weren't exposed to it.
And now you're everywhere.
Yeah, now we're everywhere.
You own Browns Bay.
Yeah, pretty much. I think, yeah. Everyone likes to move out Browns Bay, and now East Auckland, I've noticed a lot of South Africans moving out, like Southeast Auckland.
Yeah.
But yeah, we moved here, and that was the first time I'd lived in a house that my parents didn't own. We moved here and we rented, and my parents were looking to buy and whatever, and then we rented again, and then my parents found it wasn't in good nick. It was a proper fixer-upper house, but it had the space. We're a family of 5. Mm-hmm. Can't really get a 3-bedroom and we have big age gaps between us, and fixed it up. And my dad's in the building industry, always has been in the building industry. I've always loved the building industry. We've done most renovations ourselves. I've plastered walls and stuff at like 13.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, and you can make it your own. You can do whatever you want to it.
Yeah, and do you think that's almost more important, having immigrated to New Zealand, that you want to feel you've got a place to call your own?
I think so. I really struggled. Like, I was 10 and I lost everything. Like, I was talking to my mum about this. When I moved, for her, she still kept in contact with people because she was an adult. And Skype and stuff wasn't really a thing. It had only just started becoming a thing. Facebook, I think, only just started becoming a thing. But I was 10, so I wasn't necessarily on Facebook or anything.
Yeah.
So to me, everyone died, essentially. I know that sounds really, but I essentially mourned everyone because I had no contact with everyone. And so then I was put into a space where, like, I grew up being able to draw on the walls. Like, my mom would give us a wall to just paint. She's a very creative person. And then we moved into a house that we were renting that we couldn't do anything to, and I had no way of expression or anything. Yeah,
and so that's really something that you've obviously sought out.
Yeah.
And that's really admirable as well. It's like, I can't imagine, like, your friends are so important throughout your life, but especially when you're at school. Like, they make up such a massive part of your life and your well-being and your feeling of fitting in, I guess, or also not fitting in sometimes.
Yeah.
But, you know, so what an incredible challenge for you to have to start again, as you say, like, mourn the loss of those friends, of the life that you lived, and start
family
all
as
over.
well. We moved here. We knew we had some family here, but we didn't know them.
Yeah.
So it was literally just my parents and my 2 siblings. That's all I had pretty much in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a big change. And what kind of support was there? I know that the grid where we're filming out of now has actually got, like, quite a few cool networks. Like, there's actually tech for migrants and things like that. There's communities that one of the community representatives here helped establish. So there are cool spaces like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like, how much support does New Zealand actually offer? Like, what's that experience look like for you? Not totally about housing, but we'll get back to it. And I think this is really interesting.
Yeah, I think it was interesting when we came because there weren't many, I don't think. I went to a farm school and there was no other immigrants there that I at least knew of. I was the only one there who spoke different and got a lot of questions of, you're saying that wrong, which 10, you know, they don't know any different. My parents, they just kind of just relied on anyone that they met. Because, again, Googling the internet wasn't great. I know that sounds, but 15 years ago, it's not what it is now.
It's come in leaps and bounds, hasn't it?
Yeah, and then they had to financially immigrate, and they managed to find a person who did that through people. And since then, actually talking about, like, the support, and yes, my parents, because they struggled so much with it and moving over here, they hopped on a bunch of Facebook pages when Facebook started becoming a thing of South Africans wanting to move to New Zealand.
Okay.
And they started
and
helping.
then brought friends across.
Well, not even necessarily friends. We had strangers living in our house for months.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're also fairly giving people, and they just wanted to give back. Like, they struggled and they didn't want people to struggle as badly. So people move over here or come over here. And my parents would explain the whole, like, you have to find a company that's accredited because you can't just go and work at any company. You need to earn a minimum of this amount of money. Nobody tells you all of that, and the information's not necessarily
readily accessible.
Yeah. And my dad would drive them to jobs, would loan them cars. They'd go out and find work and move out. And my parents kind of started a community and a family here. No one's related to us, but we have Christmas events of all these people that used to live with us.
That's really cool and really special. Yeah. But because, I mean, we talk a lot about net migration's up by, last I checked, it was like 110,000, somewhere around that mark. So massive amounts of people coming into New Zealand. And what are those support networks? You know, I don't know that we actually have enough in place to support that. And obviously that also becomes an issue when it comes to housing, whether you're renting or buying. What does that actually look like for, you know, people coming into New Zealand?
And
New Zealanders.
Yeah, I'm a citizen now, My parents, when they moved here, all their money went into moving as well. So they started from square one, moving here to build up to buying a house. And they've got a really nice house now.
Yeah.
They worked their way up. They literally started with zero in their bank accounts again 15 years ago. And they've got a 500 square meter house now. It's beautiful. It's too big for me, to be honest. But
good on them, though,
they work their
working
way
to,
out. Multiple jobs as well. Like I guess I got my work ethic from my dad.
Yeah, so multiple income streams and trying to just get your footing out. So not without hard work.
No.
And this property that you have bought is also a bit of a doer-upper.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
So the person we bought it off had a few mental health issues. She owned it outright, and I don't want to get into it. It's her personal business. But she was essentially deemed unfit to look after herself and take care of herself. And she left the house in a little bit of a state. But also she tried to rent it out in the time period that she was taken in before she was deemed unfit. And they just became squatters.
Oh.
So it's like I said, it's a 1-bedroom house. It's 60 square meters. I believe some of the neighbors said that there were 6 to 8 people living in it. There were lots of holes in the walls. The shower wasn't working anymore. Shower was leaking. I think a DIY handyman went in there and did something to it. Yeah, there was who knows what splattered on the walls. The carpets were all pulled up. It was just on concrete. This is why we got it so cheap. Yeah, no, it was gross.
And whereabouts is it?
Henderson.
Henderson.
Yeah. So it's a good area. It's not the best, but it's a good area.
It's a good entry level. Like we see a lot of first home buyers kind of buying in that area.
And there's a lot of development happening around
there's a lot of
right
new
now.
builds in there in particular. But I guess they're not necessarily freehold. So whilst you've taken on,
We're
a bit.
actually in a body corporation.
Oh, okay. It's a body corporation.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's a standalone house on a section of land that we're not connected to anything, but it's a body corporation. It used to be a retirement village, and they sold off the houses and dissolved the retirement village. The only reason we're still connected is because all of our water still connects.
Oh, yeah. That's not the worst thing, though. It just means that utilities and things like that are managed by one party across.
And house insurance and stuff, just not contents.
Yeah. I mean, you've still got, as you say, standalone, so the value opportunity there potentially as opposed to a townhouse might go quite well for you, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But you're obviously doing some reno work there at the moment. Is Dad helping with that as well?
He did. He has done a bit, but he's managed to injure himself, so he's managed to tear the tendons out of his arm. So he's not doing that much at the moment. It's been mostly my partner and I, which is an experience. If you've never had an argument before,
but you were plastering walls when you were 13.
Yes, but he's never plastered walls.
And you've never done it together.
Yeah. We work very well separately of lands. He does his thing in that room. I do my thing in another room. And then he'll call me over, like, is this right?
Yeah.
We did replace some ceiling jib the other day. That is a different
experience altogether.
Yes. Not easy to manage. Yeah.
How do you find that kind of impacting your relationship? Is it just like speeding up your way in which you manage conflict, like you're building that muscle kind of thing, or are you still kind of struggling through that? What does that look like if you're comfortable?
I'm a very confrontational person.
Yeah.
I know this about myself. I'm very argumentative. Even if I'm very wrong, I will start arguing. I know it about myself, so it's fine. So from early on in our relationship, I would be like, no, that's not on, and we'd get in arguments anyway, in which I think early on we got to a point of being able to resolve things. This is just, I think, more common that would used to be like one-offs, like every couple of months.
This is more readily occurring because the stress is
every
there.
weekend. And we also fixed for 1 year. It's coming up to 1 year, and we're going to have to fix for another year because we had I think we had just over an 11% deposit. So we have that extra nearly 2% on top of our interest rate.
Yeah.
So we were hoping to fix it up, have it revalued, and then have equity behind us. To get rid of that. But like I said, I had an injury, so he was mostly doing a lot of the work. And then also we were only going to put a 10% deposit down, but the bank asked for the rest, so they got rid of a lot of our little backup fund to actually do the renovations.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And that can be tricky, but so yeah, you've got yourself where you've got to do a lot of that work yourself now. But it's great to hear you guys obviously know how to manage some conflict, and you had some of that experience before going into a reno, because I did look with my partner and he was all for a reno. He's an engineer, but I'm working on business, and I was like, I won't be doing anything. Like, I don't have time to do that. We're filming on a Saturday right now. Like, I don't have time to be renovating a doer-upper. And we also bought really early on, and knowing each other, knowing it was more of a kind of financial investment.
Yeah.
So luckily we didn't, because I don't think we would have made it. But I think that's really interesting, because a lot of people, it is the Kiwi dream actually, where a lot of people think you buy a house, you do it up, it increases in value. And that is a very valid strategy. But if you are buying with a partner or buying with someone else, you want to make sure that you guys are on the same page about what you're going to contribute. And maybe it is just being like, I'm good at these things, so this is what I can bring, before you go into the reno. And then the other person says, I'm good at these things. So cool, we've got enough to get this working, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do everything together, as you say. Maybe you work better apart.
Yeah, well, finishings is my thing.
Yeah.
Heavy lifting is his thing.
Yeah, I feel like, so, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, my version of feminism is that it's equal opportunity, and it's actually equally valuing the different contributions that a male and a female makes. So that doesn't...
But it's interesting with that, though, because I am in the architecture space, so I'm the one who knows how it needs to structurally get put back together, because there were a few things like walls were just falling down. So I know what you can and cannot replace, don't worry, but I was the one who was like, you have to do it like this. Like, it has to be done like this.
So there has to be a degree of collaboration there then, because you're like, oh, this is the, structure of that, and then he has to deliver on that.
Yeah, so I'd hold things.
Yeah.
And he would do the lifting and putting it in, and
Yeah, and I think it's just about finding that balance in your relationship, right? About what you can and can't contribute. But lifting heavy things is not normally going to be in the spec for a lot of women. And also it does that interior and the finishings kind of thing. Yeah. That's been a common theme coming through from women on who do a lot of renovations. That, they are. I mean, everyone's getting down and dirty in the renos, like, don't get me wrong. But that's sort of what I've heard. We had Debbie on, and she's a property investor. She's done quite a few with her partner, and she said she's the interior and he does so that seems to be a theme that's coming through. But regardless, I guess if you're looking to buy with a partner, it's about understanding who is going to be doing what and how you are going to be working together, and if you're able to take that on. And if you are, here's hoping that renovation will work for you, as you say, and build some equity for you.
Yeah, well, it's also like I would want to customize any space that I moved into in any way. So even if we moved into a new build, I'd feel really bad wanting to pull down all the tiles and redo them, because I wanted colour
it's not
or
that
something
necessary.
Yeah, but it's fine, So a renovation was what we were looking for in the first place, and he's actually kind of enjoyed it. Yeah, low-key, like he's really enjoyed going and picking out the stuff that he likes for things as well. So it's not just been me.
No, it's a rewarding thing, I imagine, when provided you make the commitment and you have the time together to do that. And so where are you at in that experience as well? Like, how far through the reno are you?
Oh goodness. So we weren't initially planning on doing the bathroom, but we pulled off the wallpaper on the other side of like the bedrooms adjacent, and there was nice watermarks all over it. And then we ran the shower and water just came through, which was great. So the bathroom is on a standstill. My dad's meant to come in and grind down the concrete for us to put in a new shower, because it needs to be flat. But as I said, he's injured himself. But other than that, we've fully jibbed and insulated the bedroom. We've had sparkies out, done everything. We've got our kitchen there, just haven't assembled it yet, because again, we decided we could assemble it ourselves. Even went through a company where I just drew it up and was like, do this for me, please. So I'd say probably, with how slow we're moving, probably still another year away, which is annoying, but what can you do?
Yeah, you just got to roll with it, right? And you're not currently living in there?
No. it's the whole like having a working shower thing. Like, yeah, we could go to the gym or whatever, but it's just not necessarily convenient
Yeah.
all the time. So we're staying with my parents out in Helensville,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a drive for us to go to and from work at the moment, but they're being as supportive as they can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have financial help getting into the house from either sides of the family. It's all us, but they're helping
now, and you're not having to pay rent if you were living somewhere else, or yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. And in terms of the actual buying process, I feel like you were limited to what you could even look at. So in a way, I feel like that process may have been a little bit easier for you, because it's not so overwhelming when it's like you've got X, like that's the amount that you've got, and there's only this many properties that are fitting within that. But what were some of the challenges that you did face with the purchasing process?
Oh, goodness. So when we were first looking, I think we only found 3 properties that we could potentially look at. The one we bought was the first one we went to. We looked around and we were like, okay. Then another one we went to only had 1 parking spot, and it was connected to other houses. I wouldn't say a townhouse because it was still only 1 level. And then the other one was going to be similar to that one, and my partner did not want to go and look at it. He was like, no, I'm not doing that, which is fair. Yeah. So he was like, I think we just have to do that one house. So we only had 1 house that could fit our
criteria.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would have been saving up for another couple of years until we got there. But also then you're chasing the housing market.
Yeah.
Which is impossible.
Yeah, and the sooner, I guess that's the thing. Like, once you're in there, you're moving with the market, and so you can build this equity and then go again potentially, or look to upsize at that point. And in terms of the due diligence when looking at that property, obviously you went through and I guess, like, again, your expectations would have been different, because you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, there's holes in the wall, there's water dropping down, like, I guess your mindset would have been a bit different. But how did you find due diligence? Did you look through the documentation? Did you get a building report? How did you, or did your dad do it? How did you manage that?
Looked at the house. I, again, don't have that much experience, but I do know what things are meant to look like to an extent. I looked through and I was like, okay, they potentially could be a leak in the shower, but I don't think it's that bad. And then they also disclosed to us that the roof had a leak that was fixed at some point. So my brain immediately went to, there's going to be rot somewhere in this house.
Yeah.
I just don't know where it is, but there's going to be rot somewhere in this house, which is also why we were like, yes, let's just pull off all the jib.
Yeah.
Just to find it, just for peace of mind. We did find it. I was right. It wasn't too bad of a fix. It was actually pretty easy. It was just a ceiling basin. Yeah. And we only replaced like 1 meter of it, which is nothing. Yeah. But like, I knew that stuff going into it. And then I had my dad come and look at it too before we got a builder's report, because then we're paying for a builder's report.
Yeah.
So my dad came and he looked at it and he was like, I agree with you. Like, there's a lot of work and there's some things that need fixing that the builder's report is going to pick up on. But for the most part, nothing should really be a surprise.
Yeah.
And we were right. The builder's report came back with pretty much everything, like
as you expected.
Front concrete path is too tall, which we knew because that creates water ingress. A few cracks in the weatherboards.
Yeah.
The roof needed to be demossed. Like, there wasn't too much wrong with it other than that from the builder's report. I just knew that there was rot somewhere.
Yeah. And the cosmetic, I guess, which you already, like, I guess when you know that there's cosmetic issues, you're already kind of, the way that you're thinking about the house is, we are going to have to do this work, but we're willing to do that. Yeah. So I guess for you, sometimes when you're comparing lots of properties and you're trying to do due diligence, it can be a really difficult process. Mm-hmm. But I guess for you, actually having it narrowed for you probably made it a little bit more manageable. And maybe there's some value in that for our potential buyers. That's actually a really key part of the journey, is narrowing your focus and getting clear on what your criteria is, and only spending money on due diligence and on looking at those properties that are sort of in your bucket, because it's far too easy to start, investing your time and your money, and it's an emotional journey when you're doing that.
It really is. And my injury, I was concussed most of it as well, as well as a few other injuries. I got hit by a car.
Oh, whoa.
I know.
Sorry.
It's okay. I think it's really funny. The guy got 10 points. Do you not know that joke? You know, like Grand Theft Auto when you go and hit people?
Oh my gosh. I thought you meant like 10 demerit
No,
points.
no. He got 10 points for hitting me.
Yeah. Yes, sorry, DTA. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I wasn't all there, but I was for somewhat all there. Oh, sorry, I've lost train of thought where we were.
You're probably still concussed after the GTA.
I probably am, to be honest. I'm a little bit slow still, but I can remember my name now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Could you not remember it at first?
No.
Wild.
I know. So I shouldn't. Yeah, I was out and about. I was going through like cop situation, whatever, and then they were just asking people names and addresses and like, why are you here, blah, 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 blah. The cop comes up to me and he's like, so your name and address? And I was like, my name. It took me a while. I got there and I was like, I don't know what my address is. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Sounds like that was not good. But you're starting to feel better now. How long ago was that?
That was
Well, if it was
August.
around about the house, it's about a year ago.
It was August 2020
Yeah.
that I got hit by the car. And then I think I had quite a bit of time not at work at all.
Yeah.
I don't quite remember how long. And then I did the slow working your way back to work program where you work like 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, half days for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got there in the end.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm glad that you've come right.
Honestly, who gets hit by a car? I think it's...
I know, that's really outrageous.
and I've got really morbid humour, so I think it's so funny.
My gosh, Jennifer.
Yes, Jennifer. Yeah, I only got Jennifer out when I got there. I didn't even find my last name.
I'm not going for the last. Just give me this, you're like, I've got it.
Yeah.
I've done enough.
Yeah, I was like, that's good enough. But the cop accepted it. He looked at me, like, because we had a little bit of a conversation beforehand. He was like, yeah, you're fine. It's fine. And I was like, okay.
You're fine, but maybe go to the hospital.
Seems really dodgy though, right? Somebody who doesn't know their name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that fun.
No.
But anyway, you got help and you're all right. So
Yeah.
Very lucky. Well, unlucky and lucky.
Yeah. A couple of my friends heard that we'd only put down
10% of like 500k would be 50.
Yeah. And they were like, wow, that's actually really doable. I think it becomes a lot more, I don't know, graspable when you hear that. Like 55 isn't actually that much.
Yeah, that's what I try to actually say to people. I say the entry level, which is incredibly low, but it's because I want people to start exploring their options, is 20k. Now that's not, unachievable for a lot of people. I know that there's some privilege involved in potentially receiving money from parents, and we can spend, time and time again, we can talk about that, we can think about that, we can feel sorry for ourselves, but the opportunity is to think, okay, could I get to 20k and then could I buy property, and how? And it might be by pooling your money with other people. In your case, it's 25k each, really, basically.
Well, majority was technically him.
Yeah.
Because I'd only been working for a short amount of time. And when we first started dating, I told him he needed to max out his KiwiSaver, his contributions, which really
got you there.
Got us there.
But in theory, put two people together, that's 25 each.
Yeah, it's not hard.
So it actually is more achievable than people realise. So I really appreciate you, highlighting that, because I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
So many people would prefer to complain, say it's out of reach, and tear down other people that have done it, rather than actually ask questions, get curious, and work to identify what opportunities might be available to you.
Because I agree, for us, that 3-bedroom, $1 million house, Auckland standard price of a house, was not going to be achievable for us. But
no, so people see that, and also I think the other thing is people want that.
Yes.
So then they go, well, I can't have that, so I won't bother. But then you're pushing that further and further away. Whereas if you get on the ladder and you take a step, use it as a stepping stone towards that greater, bigger, more unachievable dream, then one day it might just become achievable.
Yeah. And for us, a one-bedroom house, we had so many people telling us that it was going to be such a silly idea to buy a one-bedroom house because they're like, how are we meant to grow from that? And it's like there's space to potentially build a second bedroom or a sleep out if we ever needed more space.
Awesome.
But it's also
That would be a great way to increase value as well.
Yeah, but it's also, we could also rent that one out and then go renting ourselves too.
Yes.
If we needed more space for whatever reason, or if we just got sick of staying in like a one-bedroom house for us. But we also lived in a sleep out together, so we're fine.
Yeah, you can make it work.
Yeah, we're fine. And everyone was like, but like, what is the value behind that? There's not many people who want a one-bedroom house, but people in our situation where we're mid-20s, not necessarily wanting to start and grow a family right now, or people downsizing, retiring, because when you're retiring, you don't want to keep maintaining and cleaning up a 3-4 bedroom house.
And again, it's a stepping stone. As you said, you could make that 1 bedroom into a 2 bedroom, or you can, as you say, sell that and move into a 2 bedroom or a 3 bedroom later down the line. And there will be demand for that because there's not enough houses in general, and there's so many people that actually might just want to live by themselves and when they go flatting or things like that. Like I moved from flatting with people to living by myself in like a 1 bedroom kind of apartment. It was like part of a unit, a 2-story unit more so. But anyway, like I did that for a short time before moving into my own place. And I think there is always going to be opportunities to rent that out and to for certain people to value that. So good work. That's awesome. And I think it's really refreshing to have someone that is buying in that tricky price range and hear that they've had some success. Yes, you've still got a bit of work to do, but you know it's all going to come back and that value is going to continue to grow for you.
Yeah, and we haven't put that much money into fixing it up yet either because we've been doing a lot of the labour ourselves, so it's still very doable.
And everything you do to it is adding value to it, so you're just going to see that equity continue to grow. And then you'll have, you know, instead of 55, if that's what you started with, you'll have 150, and then you can move into that next price bracket if that's what you want to do. Yeah, amazing. If you were to give advice to your younger self, what would you...
I think I'd say not to put such strict timelines on things. And I don't even mean that in like you've got to own a house by this age or by this point of your life, but like even... because I started working full-time late. I graduated into COVID. Like, I didn't get a job for a year afterwards. Like, don't put such strict, you need to graduate then, you're going to be working by then to earn enough money to buy your house by then. Like, just go with it.
Yeah.
Just keep working at it, but go with it.
I think that's another key one that feeds into what you're saying there around people having a mindset thing that it's unachievable, that they're behind, that society's putting this pressure on them and they're not meeting those expectations. And I think those are really real feelings, and of course that exists, that pressure. So it's easier said than done to kind of ignore that as best you can. But I think for your own mental health, that's a huge thing. Yeah. But it's be open to opportunities, but opportunities within your own timelines.
Yeah, because everyone's timeline's different. Like, I don't get the whole my younger sibling got it before me thing. Like, what does that mean? Like, you guys are on 2 different pathways.
Comparison is the death of joy.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be comparing yourself to your friends either. I know, like, a few of my friends have followed in my footsteps, but a lot of them haven't.
But hopefully those that have, it's been from a getting curious thing and thinking, oh, well, if they've managed to do it, maybe we can.
I believe so. It hasn't been I wanted to thing. It's not a jealousy thing. It's like, oh, okay, we could do that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And that's what we're seeing more and more of our followers start to do, is actually exploring and thinking, okay, starting to hear different stories from people that haven't had $200,000 and haven't bought a $1 million property.
Yeah.
So what is possible for me?
Yeah.
Our last question for you is our classic. If your first home had a doorbell and that doorbell played a theme song, what would it play, Jennifer? Would it be like the GTA soundtrack?
I was actually talking to my partner about that one last night because hear it on your podcast every time. I think what we got to was just Bob the Builder.
Bob the Builder.
Yeah,
Can we fix it, Bob the Builder?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Like, I can kind of imagine how that goes.
Yeah.
As you're crying, and putting...
Yes, we can.
Good on you. I believe you can, and I'm so excited. If you can share some pictures like before and after. I mean, you're not at the after yet, but I would love to see those personally, and I'm sure that some of our audience would be keen to check it out as well.
I can send you some photos,
Awesome. Thanks, Jennifer.
Welcome to Slice, Property Made Possible. We're a platform on a mission to reduce barriers to home ownership. This podcast is a safe space for our community to learn together and build the confidence required to start on their property journey. When you're ready to start, head along to slicetobuy.com and sign up for your free dashboard.